and welcome to the second part of the draft recap. I am your host, Nelson, and with me today I have returning after his long trip to LAX to drop off his parents, Clayton Fawcett. How are you doing, Clayton?
I'm good. How are you, Nelson?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. I'm really salty that DeAndre Russell is a net, but there's nothing I can do about it now. I can just accept and just move on. Actually, not move on. Just be petty every time. He has a huge game.
According to Twitter, you need to move on because he wasn't going to be a superstar or anything anyway. So
Right.
why even bother?
Of course, why even bother? Why even bother to get mad that like you traded the number two pick for a super valuable asset like cap space, right? I mean, who could be frustrated at that? Um, so the Lakers had their draft 2 days ago or a couple days ago, and the Lakers drafted Lonzo Ball with the number two pick. They also drafted Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, and Thomas Bryant. They made all these draft picks, and they ended up trading down for number 28, and they got 30 and 42, and that's how they were able to acquire two players. They also signed PG Dozier to a drafted free agent contract. So that's fun. But Clayton, what grade would you give the Lakers draft now taking a few days to really evaluate it?
I still say like a B or a B plus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say a B plus just because like taking Lonzo is just kind of like a duh type thing. I'm not going to give you points for taking him. It was just pretty much, that was the consensus pick. So,
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Kuzma, I understand people like him. He shows some talent. He shows some skill. I've watched a little bit more on him. He really, he didn't really show anything to make me, go oh, holy crap, yeah, that's why we took him. I saw a few people saying it's like a knockdown shooter. I'm like, 32% as a knockdown shooter. You learn something new every day. Whatever. My main thing was that was just such a freaking redundant pick. I'm not going to really hold judgment, I guess, on that until I see what they do at the 4. Because there's no way that they can go into the season with all these freaking 4s.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that they would have to take or trade at least one, maybe two of them to try and get some type of wing, 2-3, or a backup point guard or something like that.
Yeah.
Hart was a really good pick. It didn't sound like I was really high on him on the draft, but that was just getting all of the reactions of taking Kuzma. But no, he's good. Potential secondary ball handler type player. Can run a pick and roll. He's just solid, really, at everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be a pretty good rotation player. Maybe a starter on I don't know if I would say like a championship team. I mean, you never know, but I would think more of like a 6 or 7 man. He could potentially be like I've seen people say like a Danny Green without the wingspan, or as in role. Not he wouldn't be exactly like them. There's another guy, but I can't remember who it was. But a good defender can knock down a 3. He would be a better dribbler though than Danny Green.
Right.
And then Bryant is like the lotto pick, not like the NBA lottery, but like just he could be really good or he could be just terrible.
Garbage.
Yeah. Good shooter last year at Indiana. He's got a freakish wingspan and standing reach. He's got really underrated athleticism, in my opinion. He had that lower leg injury. I can't remember. Do you remember if it was an ankle or a foot issue? I can't remember.
I think it was a foot issue. I don't think it was an ankle issue.
Okay. So yeah, I think that hurt him a lot last year, so he wasn't able to do a lot on offense or or on the defensive side of the ball, and it also hurt his production inside. His freshman year, he shot something like 70% in like the 2-point range, you know.
Right.
So being able to show that he can spread the floor was really interesting. If he can be able to contain a pick and roll, I mean, he's got the wingspan to just swallow people up, you know. So it should be really, really interesting to see if he can improve on the defensive side and if he can protect the rim at all. If he can spread the floor, like hit the corner three and be able to protect the rim and contain a pick and roll, you're looking at an insanely valuable asset.
Right.
Will he be able to? I don't know. That's why he fell to number 42.
Yeah.
Dozier is really intriguing. I had him higher than Kuzma, so that he went undrafted at first shocked me, and then I didn't realize he's been playing with like a torn ACL for like 5 years or something like that.
Right.
If he's been playing with a torn ACL and he's still that athletic, holy crap!
Yeah.
He's a really good defensive prospect. 6'5", maybe 6'6", with a 6'11" wingspan, so he could potentially guard 1, 2s, and 3s, depending, of course, on the player,
right,
or the matchup you want to say. He's really intriguing. The shot is pretty bad. I think he shot like 25% from 3 last year, but you know, he's a guy that can attack the basket. He doesn't have the best handles, but I think he could be like a secondary ball handler. At least, at minimum, he could be a third ball handler.
Right.
You know, it's really, is the knee okay, and if that shot can translate. Because I think he could easily make the 16th or 17th spot on the roster. They could just have him do the ACL surgery, just, you know, get that fixed, and then just keep him on the roster and to wait for next year, and just like, is he still only 21? I think.
Yeah,
or 20. I think he's only 20. Yeah. He'll turn 21 October 25th. So, I mean, he's not exactly old. He's not super young either, but yeah, good athlete, really, really intriguing because of the length and the explosion, even though the knee is an issue. So,
yeah, I mean, like I would also, I think I'm probably higher in the draft because I really consider, even though Lonzo was a given pick, I'm probably going to give him points for that pick just because they didn't screw it up. I mean,
if you want to look at it that way, I would say it's probably like an A-, just because like you didn't take De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah,
if you took a De'Aaron Fox, like this is like a C+ draft. That draft looks bad.
Yeah, it does not look good.
It looks really bad. Yeah, they were clearly building to, or getting these guys to surround Lonzo. Like, it was very specific towards Lonzo, and you can say it's a Golden State way. At the same time, Golden State has never had a 6'11" big with a 7'6" wingspan that can shoot threes. You know.
Yeah.
Like, Draymond is obviously an elite defender, and he can spread the floor. He was actually a bad shooter this year, but you know, that was. These were all picks to put around Lonzo. Like, not necessarily that Golden State offense, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think that they are building around Lonzo and Ingram. It's pretty clear of that now. They want to get guys who can space the floor, guys who can play some good defense, or at least have the potential to play good defense. To have good tools, and also it really shows. You know, like I said. With merge, I think that it really shows the importance of workouts for the Lakers, because I think that all these guys really worked out really well for the Lakers, and that really came into consideration, especially like a guy like Kuzma, who I'm sure he did well in the workout environment, and that really just made him made Lakers fall in love with him, I guess, to take him that high, especially when the consensus was that he was like in the 40s range, 30s range. He wasn't really considered a first round
Yeah,
prospect.
I mean, he went 20 or 16 spots before anticipated.
Yeah.
According to at least the DX draft or top 100 rankings. It was, to me, it was just, I know people are like, oh, he's got some talent. Yeah, he has to have some talent, or else he wasn't going to get drafted.
Right.
You can see that. At the same time, like, there were just so many guys that I would have taken ahead of him. I think I said on the live stream of it, I would take the next 9 or 10 guys after him that went after him before I took him.
Yeah.
So it was whatever, but it is what it is now. I just really want to see what they turn these guys into.
Yeah, all the power forwards that they have.
Yeah, because there's just no way that you can have all of these guys, in LA. There's just not going to be enough time unless you're just going to run Kuzma as a 2-way contract, but that's a complete waste because you have. That's like he's a guaranteed contract already, right, being a first-round draft pick, so it wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
But whatever.
So now that Lakers have drafted and now that they find those here, what are your what are you thinking about as far as summer league goes? I know that's still a couple weeks in the future, but the roster is looking pretty stacked. So what are your hopes for summer league as of right now? Like just previewing so far.
With all the hype I've seen from a lot of people, they better do really well in it.
Yeah, right.
I actually have. Let me real quick. You talk real quick about what you feel, and I will bring it up in just a second. I forgot. I have someone already created a list. Actually, might be in my drive already. Of all the prospects already in it. So
yeah, I mean, so for me, I'm expecting Ingram to have a huge summer league. This is gonna be his second year. He's already had a year in the NBA. He should be ready to go, ready to impress. Lonzo should do better than I think most expect, just because summer league's really chaotic and things like that. It's not really like an organized type of thing, and that's kind of where Lonzo that's where he's best at, where he can really push it in transition. In summer league, he'll have more success pushing it as often as he will, just because it's a much more fast-paced environment. So I think that'll fit him well.
It's really just a cluster F.
Yeah, it's pretty much just an all-star game.
It's pretty ridiculous. All right, I pulled it up. So far, Lonzo Ball, obviously, Thomas Bryant, PJ Dozier, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, David Nwaba, Ivica Zubac. So you've got 2 centers with Bryant and Zubac. They probably won't bring in another guy, I don't think. Maybe they could, but I don't really see the need to bring in another 5 unless – because Summer League is a minimum of 4 or 5 games or something like that, and then you could go into – I don't really see the need to have more than that unless you just want well, I guess I should say the Zubac and Brandon Ingram may only play a few of the games, not all the games. So
right, because they're secondary players now.
So yeah, Lonzo, Thomas Bryant. They might add, I guess, another big. Looks like all the people though are just snatching up all the undrafted free agents. I've been trying to remember guys that went undrafted last year that we could swoop up real quick, but they're all going pretty quickly. I think starting will be Lonzo, Josh Hart, David Nwaba. I think I could see Brandon Ingram start at the 4, and then Zubac. And then Kuzma off the bench with Dozier and Bryant. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. for all I know, it could be Brandon Ingram still at the 3 and Noah come off the bench and then Kuzma start.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty hopeful that they're going to be able to go pretty far in the tournament. I think a championship isn't out of the picture, in my opinion, just because you have two high-level prospects. One being a second-year player, so like Ingram should really dominate, sort of like how D'Angelo does. It'll be curious to see how the team does when Ingram's like off the court.
Brogdon's going to be there. What the heck? Why is Brogdon going to be at Summer League?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Sorry, I'm getting to finally see it on my laptop instead of my phone. So some of the names are kind of surprising to see, I guess. So,
but the real question that I have for you about Summer League is should Julius Randle go, and if he doesn't go, then how big of a bust is he? Just asking.
Well, clearly, he's going to be a fourth-year player, so I think he should be fine. The real question is, should Nance go? Because if he doesn't go, then what does he want to be? No, I'm sorry. That's mean. That was all started last year with Anthony Irwin. Which I mean, I think everyone got on him about that. So I don't want to bag on Anthony. I'm sorry.
So moving on, the Lakers introduced Lonzo, and of course, me and Rich talked about it, how outlandish it was, the kind of stuff that Magic was saying about how Lonzo's going to be like face of the Lakers now, and how he's going to break all of Magic's records, and how he loves Lonzo, and Lonzo's the second coming of Kobe Bryant, how Lonzo's going to just save the world. So Clayton, what were your thoughts as all those quotes came out, and did you expect anything less from Johnson?
Honestly, I didn't pay attention to it at all. I knew it was going to be just an absolute nonsense show.
Mm-hmm.
When they weren't even fully sat down and Magic was saying, just leave me a couple records, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. They say the key. There was a quote the other day. The keys to the franchise are earned; they're not just given.
Mm-hmm.
Then what was that? That press because I watched some of it. I had to stop watching because it was just embarrassing. But man, the kid they're going to put so much pressure on him to be amazing right off the bat, and I'm sorry, that's not how it works. Not with rookie point guards. He'll have games, he'll look really good, but it's just it was just amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be something else just to witness. Lonzo get all these remarks, and after he does poorly his first Summer League game, how everyone either defends him or they all just bag on him, which is probably going to be most likely the latter. Just because people like to bag on, the Lakers players, and they'll just jump on the bus train like they did with D'Angelo. But yeah, so as the last topic, I think I really want to talk about the PG trade that was thrown out today. So the trade was it was a 3-team trade between the Cavs, the Pacers, and the Nuggets. And the Nuggets would get Kevin Love. The Cavs would get Paul George. And apart from that, none of the other details weren't really known. It was pretty much just like a Stein bomb. He just dropped it out of nowhere. He did say that the talks have stalled and that there hasn't been any progress on the trade. But it appears that the Cavs are really going hard at PG, and I'm sure that they are, just because the price isn't as high as many expect. So, Clayton, what do you think that a trade to the Cavs would mean for the Lakers?
Could be a lot. It could be a little. I mean, it might be something really big. It might not be anything. He could leave. He could stay. Who knows? I was thinking about our podcast with Pete, and where I said that I thought there was like a 70% chance that we would get him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people mistook that for me thinking Lakers exceptionalism. because of the comments on the live chat. I said that I thought there was a 70% chance that they would overpay to get him.
Mm-hmm.
Likelihood, I thought it was going to be a lot lower. I thought they just had kind of pigeonholed themselves into it. But if I expect him to get traded. I do not expect him to get traded to LA because I think with pretty much him unofficially saying it, but through his agent declaring that he's going to LA, Kevin Pritchard's just going to be on the petty train and not deal him to LA. So if you think you're getting him, I think you're getting him in free agency next year.
Right. I just think that a trade to the Cavs and Celtics would make it really, really hard for the Lakers to nab him, just because he would get used to just being around the team and stuff, and being around a real winning culture, and a culture that goes to like the Western Conference Finals, and that's a legitimate contender. And I think that if he gets a taste of that, he's gonna want to stay there and not go to the rebuilding Lakers. It'll be tough. But if Paul George isn't traded, then that's probably the best case scenario for the Lakers at this point. I'm
sorry. My main concern with the whole, like, people act like that the Pacers have just been crap the entire time that they've had Paul George.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The past couple of years hasn't been very good, but they haven't been a bad team overall. I mean, the Pacers went to 2 conference finals against the Heat when it was the Heatles.
Mm-hmm.
So he's tasted success before.
Right.
So I don't think it's like he's going to be introduced to success and he's going to be staying there. Like, no, it would just be like, yeah, he found a comfortable situation that he liked. Winning, of course, obviously is going to be big, but at the same time, it's not going to just be like, it would probably be weird, like, if he were to go somewhere, like, say Cleveland, or God forbid goes to Boston, and somehow Boston or Cleveland wins the championship over, like, the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, it would be weird if they won and he left. But I don't know. When people are just like, because all I see is when he tastes success. Like, he's tasted success before. He never made it to the finals, but he's also only 27.
Right.
So, it's not this huge thing. Like, he's never, like, it's not DeMarcus Cousins where he hasn't had success since Kentucky.
Right.
It's not. What would be another example? Kind of, I guess, Anthony Davis with New Orleans. They made it to the playoffs one year, but they've been pretty bad otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a situation like that. I think they've made the playoffs every year that he's been on the team except one. I think that was last year. I think so. But I'm not going to bother to look it up because I'm lazy and I don't want to. Yeah, I think the whole success thing is overrated. I think it'd just be if he finds a comfortable situation. Like, when people think of, like, Kobe as, like, he won without anyone else. No, he had Pau Gasol, who was an all-star in his own right.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Andrew Bynum coming into his own. He was really freaking good.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Lamar Odom and all the other role players. Like,
mm-hmm.
He was never alone. He never did it on his own. I know people don't like to acknowledge that, but he didn't. So no one wants to do it alone. I can't remember, like, I can't think of a championship team that did it alone.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, teaming up with guys, or not necessarily teaming up, but playing on a team that has multiple all-stars, like, it's not like those are the teams that win. Like, the New Orleans Pelicans, before they got DeMarcus Cousins, we're never going to win a championship just with Anthony Davis. So I know that was kind of like a weird rabbit hole thing, but shout out to the podcast Rabbits. It's a good podcast. But yeah, I really think it's going to be about where he feels comfortable at. If he feels comfortable coming to LA, even though the Lakers are probably not going to be very good next year, awesome. Do I actually think he comes to LA? No, I don't. I don't really think he does. I think he'll eventually be like, "Why? I'm entering my prime, and I'm going to a team that's full of young guys. And unless they dump, they're not going to be able to get that second max. So, unless, I guess you could think them bringing in like a guy like Boogie, Westbrook. Don't really want him either. Like it would just be like a weird situation for him to go to, in my opinion.
I know it would be crazy having two Westbrooks. You have Lonzo Ball, the next Westbrook, and then you have Westbrook, the actual Westbrook. Like that's just crazy, right, Clayton? I mean, that's awesome. Like Westbrook with the shot, and then just Westbrook. Like that's awesome. Like, having both Westbrooks in the backcourt, and then having DeMarcus Cousins, like and then Paul George, like that's a win. That's a winning roster right there. But in all seriousness, yeah, I think that it's tough for me to see how Paul George ends up in LA right now, even though the agent did say that he wants to go to the Lakers. I just think that if he gets traded to a better team, he's probably going to end up staying there because, like, Brad Stevens is an awesome coach and he's a great players coach. Like, why wouldn't he want to stay there? Like unless like something weird happens there and Danny Ainge doesn't like commit to him or something like that, or I mean something like that, or like Cleveland, like LeBron just leaves, like he just doesn't want to play for Cleveland anymore. Like he's done. Like Derek Griffin's out, so he's just done. Like if something like that happens, then I think it's likely that he leaves. But I think that wherever he gets traded to, he'll probably just get comfortable there and just stay there. I mean, honestly, I think that any situation that he gets traded to, that like the Nuggets, the Cavs, the Celtics are all much more comfortable situations if all their players stay. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I just don't think that it's likely at this point that Paul George comes here, unless he just stays in Indiana for some weird reason and decides that he does not want to trade him at all, which would be weird. But also possible, So yeah, that'll do it for the draft recap. We kind of dove into some rumors that were in there today, and also the Lonzo introductory press conference. But yeah. Clayton, do you have anything coming out soon?
Soon I'm going to be teaming up with you and doing some of the scouting reports for guys. Mm-hmm. We need to finish our collab, and if anyone wants me to write on anything, just leave it in the comments, either on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, doesn't matter. Just leave it in the comments and I'll get to it. I don't have access right now to the live chat, so just leave it in one of the comment sections of any of those three platforms and just let me know. I'll probably think of something later, but I kind of got burnt out with writing the past few days. So, and thank you for everyone for checking in the Lakers Pulse during the draft podcast and to the site for all of our mocks and boards and stuff like that. You guys just absolutely killed it. Thank you everyone for checking us out.
Yeah, I have my all hair team there. Still just waiting there to be seen. I worked pretty hard on making sure I chose the players with the best hair. Scouting reports, Lonzo Ball scouting report should be up soon, and
lots of Lonzo scouting report coming out.
Lots of different parts, because Clayton does not want me to write one huge scouting report. So,
and for now that Lonzo is drafted, everyone can go back. Nelson wrote 2 pieces already to start with it, and he will be coming out with several more pieces about it, because just for viewer friendliness on that.
Yeah, so it doesn't take forever to load. So I'm looking out for you guys, so you guys don't have to just stand there at the computer and wait for 3 minutes just for an article to load. But yeah, that'll do it for this edition of Lakers Pulse podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we hope you guys enjoy. You guys come back for the next one. We'll be covering summer league and other kind of different events. So until the next one, we'll catch you guys later.